Hey everyone, hello. It is so great to see you guys again. We are on the Going Bold network. All of our information is right there, goingboldmedia.com. You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. We're a radio, TV, and a podcast station. We are the number one internet talk network. And we're not going bold Wednesday. So if you're a little bit confused about that, not to worry because we go bold every day. Absolutely. So let's get on with our show today. We are the Link to Expert Business Showcase. Our host today is myself, Cece Shatz, and I have Joanne, my good friend, here with me. Those of you that don't know me, I am the president and the doyen of relationship building. My websites are goingboldconnection.com and the goingboldmedia.com, which again, you'll find all of our wonderful information. Joanne, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Cece, I'm so excited to be here since this is our newest, new show with the Business Showcase. And the reason I'm so excited is because I always love to find out what people are doing and why they do it and how it can help others. And that's why I loved when you invited me to be a co-host on the Business Showcase, because I feel like life is so exciting, but if we can find other people to help us make our life easier and we can focus on what we do best, that's exactly what this show is all about. We're going to show you different people that can do different things to make your life easier, and that way you can focus on what you do best. And it's also exciting because to me, collaboration is my middle name. And I feel like this is a true collaboration between what you've been doing these years and all I've been doing all these years, and combining it with what all these different guests that we'll have on the show are doing. So it's just a true collaboration. So thank you, Cece.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. We've got a wonderful guest today. I'm going to bring her up. Joanne, if you'd like to tell the audience who she is.
Sure. Everybody meet Sharon Ringier. She's one of my friends, colleagues, co-workers, such a way, meaning that we are always looking for ways too that we can collaborate. She's a true collaborator. And right now she's actually in Wisconsin, right? In your cabin.
Yes.
But I mean, it just goes to show you with technology, we can communicate from anywhere, and even in the middle of nowhere. I think you are, Sharon. And so we're just so excited to have you, and to share with us about goal setting and showing how women can be, anything is possible. So welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the opportunity. And yes, being in the middle of nowhere can have its challenges, especially with technology. But the beauty is working from anywhere as an entrepreneur is great. It's like when I had my day job back in the day, if the kids got sick, before I even took jobs, I would tell them, hey, listen, my vacation days are meant for my kids' sick days. So I don't schedule vacation. Now it's like, if life is happening, I can be working and sitting next to whomever, even in the hospital if I need to. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so it's just so great to be able to pick up my laptop, my phone, and technology is advanced enough where I can carry it with me.
I love that, don't you? Like many times I've been, I hate to say, at the beach or someplace really
Don't hate
fun.
it.
I don't hate to say it, Cece. It's actually
Celebrate yourself that you can do that. Don't hate to say that. That's a blessing.
Oh, I love it. I know, but I feel guilty if other people are out there in offices and I'm having this great time. Let's talk a little bit about our topic today because we're going to have a jam-packed show. It's setting possible goals. And so many often we were, I was talking to Joanne about this, and that we set these goals, Sharon, that are impossible. Let's talk about setting those possible goals because you're all about making it possible, aren't you, Sharon?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's my favorite quote, which is how the name of my business came to be is nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Audrey Hepburn, but I love that because if you take the word and break it up, it's kind of like when you look at how life and death lie in the power of the tongue, right? So what we speak over ourselves is the truth. It's our truth in our head at least. So when you say I'm possible, so it's like when you look at your goals with that, it's like we tend to get frustrated or, kind of, reserved because we're afraid to take the leap and what have you. And a lot of that comes from misalignment. And if we're not in alignment with our goals, it becomes daunting. It's daunting even with goals that that is in alignment, but to have something that technically is not meant for you, but you're trying to make it happen, hence why we should never compare ourselves to others, because their goals are different than ours and their expectations and all the things that they're going through, it's different. So yeah, so it's understanding the dichotomy around setting that goal and knowing why you're setting that goal. And so I actually teach vision board workshops, and one of the workshops is called the vision before the board. So
interesting.
Because what happens is we get so caught up on, I'm going to paste this on there, and I like that word, I'm going to paste that on there, and they just start pasting stuff, and then the next thing you know, the thing that this decoupage stuff that's all over a board that has on top of, there's no, to me, method to its madness. It's hard to look at, it's hard to understand. It just sits in a drawer. And because we don't really understand why we even want these goals. So I'll never forget, I wound up going in the hospital, and my son came. It was right when I was getting ready to plan the Impossible Women's Empowerment Conference. And that was the start of this. And it was so funny because my son brought me all my stuff and whatnot. When I'm in the hospital, I was like, Mom, why are you doing this? Well, I want to help women, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And I'm going through all this, but why? Well, because I know it's hard for them, but why? And so I almost felt like I was dealing with a 2-year-old, the little kids. I go, but why? But why? And then finally, after the 5th one, I'm like, why are you busting my chops? I'm laying in the hospital bed. Why are you stressing me out? And he's like, because Mom, you're not getting to the core of why you're doing this. And that's the thing, is we don't look at the true meaning of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And when you get to that piece where it starts to unpeel that onion and you get to the core of why you're doing that goal, that's when you will see results happen. Because then when life happens, you still can continue your path in the midst of all the storm. And it was amazing because it's like, because I wanted to do it so badly. In the hospital, I'm doing it, when I'm going to a kid's game, I'm doing it. Like you said, you go to the beach with your laptop and you're doing it because it's just part of you.
Yeah.
And when I started looking at things in alignment with what I was working on, it came easier. And I just say easier. It still wasn't easy, but it just was easier to manifest and to bring to fruition. So I had my vision. Mine was a vision wall because I'm a creative. So I had a whole wall in my office with gold trimmed, picture frames and all this. And some of the things on there, because I was transitioning out of one part of my life to another. I used to be an event planner, and I had some event planning things on there. And at the same time, I said, God, if you want me to do this women's empowerment thing, you're gonna have to take weddings off my heart, because I can't do both. It's too hard. So be careful what you ask for. So he did. I didn't manifest 1 cent. So everything else that was part of the new vision, it all came to fruition. Yes, it was a struggle, but it all was like, it was so rewarding when it was done. It's kind of like when you have kids, right? When you're carrying it, it's not a pretty scene sometimes, but the reward is when you get kids, when it's birthed. And it's just, and that's how I look at it. So I know it was a little long-winded and kind of, taking this road, but it's like, that's how I feel about, creating possible goals, is starting with being in alignment with what it is that you want and why you want it.
I think what you're saying is spot on. We have a comment here. I didn't realize that. Let's see what they're saying. So, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate that.
She's one of my collaborative colleagues, friends, my lifeline. She's my everything. She helps me on my rough days.
Awesome. We love that. We absolutely love that. Well, I totally believe in the vision board, and I actually need to make another one, I will say, because I need to do an updated one, and I don't have one where I see it. But I remember years ago, a friend of mine told me about it, and I kind of poo-pooed the idea, which is terrible. And but I made it, and she said, really be very concentrated on what it is that you truly want,
Mhm.
And so I put the things up there, got magazines and put it up there, and I made it all nice and whatever. And I put it by the wall by my bed. When I get up out of the morning, the wall was right there. It was the first thing I saw, but this wall, And so I moved the pictures out of the way and put this board right there. And I looked at it every day before I went to bed. I looked at it again, and it just kind of manifested, right? And you know what? I realized after a while, everything that was on that board came true.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I do believe in our mindset and what
Right.
we do. And so I think you're onto something, definitely, Sharon.
Right. Well, Tony Robbins even talks about it. It's a reticular activating system. It's like, think of this: when you buy a car, all of a sudden you see everybody and their mother has this car.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have these goals, or we have these visions, or whatever it is we're trying to manifest, it will continuously manifest itself as you continuously look at it, because you're putting it inside of you. So everything that you do focuses on that. So it's like, well, I think it's what is it? Where your energy flows, your energy goes, or whatever that quote is. I forgot the quote, and it's one of his, but it's like, where you put your energy, that's how it manifests.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to think, when you put things in front of you, it's kind of like a habit. When you do something, they say for 21 days, some people say 40 days, some people say 60, but when you do something that becomes it's habitual, it becomes easier, and
Right.
it's easier to manifest that, right? So, I mean, perfect examples I had on my vision board. I did this exercise, and I put on there where it was like, I wanted to get on television for the conference. And this exercise, I wrote it down every single day. Now, mind you, I did not have a budget for PR,
Mm-hmm.
but it happens that one of my speakers was a PR specialist, and she's actually on the cover of the magazine that you have, Joe. She was a PR specialist. She was a speaker, and she was like, "Hey, how about we help you get on some shows?" I wound up on like our local news station in Chicago. I wound up on WGN. I didn't like, she literally, because she was a speaker and helping to support and she was a sponsor for my conference. That's how it manifested. I had no idea what that was even going to look like.
Great.
So it's like, we have to be deliberate with it and believe in it.
Right. So what would you say, Sharon, like if someone's out there listening and they're thinking, okay, I need to set my goals, but I really don't know how to start doing something like that. What would you recommend for them to do?
I guess start with the end goal in mind,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes when we have goals that we want to set, so I mean, for instance, like I wanted to do the magazine.
Right.
And I wanted to do it for the retreat. It started with, I wanted to do it for the retreat. So I at least got that down. Now, why do I want it for the retreat? I want it for the retreat because I want to empower women, and I want to give the women that's at the retreat some good content that they can use in their business. Now I said, so it's like, it's almost like you start from the end and work backwards. At least that's what works best for me. And you come up with a plan and a strategy, because the biggest thing to goal setting is creating really like realistic strategies and action plans that you can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to start with the end in mind. Otherwise, if you don't know where you need to go, that's kind of like, if I take a map and I say, oh, I want to go to California. Well, if I'm in the Midwest and I start heading east, I'm not going to get there, because I need to go to the West Coast. So it's like, if I need to go to the West Coast, I can't head east. So I need to figure out, okay, what's my action plan? Like, what's the map? Like, literally sit down and think about all the pieces that go with it. Some things aren't going to work, and that's okay. So it's just making sure that you have an idea of what this looks like, because how did they say it? Build the plane while you're flying it.
Mm-hmm.
Take that journey and map your path as you go, but at least come up with a strategy to get you started. And once you do it enough, it becomes easier. Again, that word easy, it becomes easier to do moving forward. But, it's just starting with the end in mind, I think, is the hardest thing that sometimes, or people make it hard because they're trying to, oh, well, I'm going to start a business. Well, you're on the beginning part. You're starting a business. What is what is the business going to be? What is it? What's your goal? Who are your clients? Things like that. You need to start with that in mind, not the fact that you need to go get an LLC and start a website, because that website, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to listen, does it make noise? Well, it makes noise, but guess what? No one hears it.
Yeah,
So,
great advice. Now, also, I wonder, if you should, and I've always I've done a couple shows about goal planning, and try to keep them a little bit separate, but they interchange, don't they? Your personal goals, right,
mhm,
to your business goals, and then you may have goals for, maybe entertainment or relaxation or vacations or whatever. So you have to kind of start to put these things all together, don't you? And keep
right.
separate, but then they kind of intertwine with each other. Let's talk a little bit about that briefly.
So I personally don't keep them separate. And here's why. When I was trying to run just my businesses, like when I was an event planner and all of that, I ran myself in the ground and I did not address anything personal.
Mhm.
Like it was to the point where, and the story is, my kid, when he's at the foot of my bed in a hospital room and he's looking at them put Dilaudid in my IV because I'm in so much pain because I ran myself to the, like, I ran myself in the ground. I didn't have structure because it was always go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. And the best person I can use as an analogy is Steve Jobs. I mean, he was filthy rich, but his money could not help him in his personal life. So my mission, even with my business, is to even empower women to live their best lives, both personally and professionally. Personally being first, because if you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself first, you can't help any of your clients, you can't help your family, you can't help anyone. So to me, they go hand in hand, even to the point of where if you were to do a SWOT analysis on your business, especially as an entrepreneur, I talk about doing a SWOT analysis for just yourself, like, as well. Like, so do both, because you are your business. You are what you're selling.
Mhm.
Technically, whether you're a coach, even if you have a brick and mortar, you're still the entrepreneur that's out there in the field doing the thing, right? So it's like, if you aren't together, if you don't take care of you, the rest of it is going to fall apart. And then the moment something happens to you, your business is going to fail anyway. So they have to be intertwined, and there has to be boundaries set, not even balance.
Mhm.
I don't believe in balance, because at the end of the day, if I have a cold, or like I had COVID back in January, I felt like crap. I designed the book at three, not the book, the magazine at 3 in the morning sometimes, and then I'd sleep for like 20 hours because I didn't feel good. But I did the best I could for that day. So you live
Sorry.
your best at that moment. And it's like with the 4 agreements, I think they talk about do your best for that day.
Mhm.
And then when I feel great, then I go at my optimum speed.
Yeah, I totally get that because as you can see, I've been suffering with a cold,
I'm
and
sorry, especially a summer cold.
I
Oh my
know.
God.
Nothing worse, right? And I was actually in Baltimore visiting my son. It was beautiful there, right? And I
Oh
come
wow.
home, and I'm in Florida, and so I come home, and I have a summer cold. It's like, oh, I can't even go out and tell all my friends what a great time I had in Baltimore. So now I have to I have to wait till I get better. But
Oh,
yeah, but I agree with you about that. About really, we've got to take care of ourselves.
oh
We have to definitely put ourselves first. How about you, Joanne? Is there anything any input you want to give on this?
Well, I think a perfect example, what you two are talking about, is even I find a lot of people, when they do separate it, just as an example, they have a calendar for their business or their professional life, and then they have one for their family or their personal life or whatever you want to call it. And many times I find then they mess up and they don't show up for one or
hmm.
the other.
Yep.
And, so like just for an example with me, I always believed in putting it all on one calendar because of the fact that way I know you said don't balance it, but I feel like with me, I actually do ask myself if I did my spiritual thing that day, if I did something, to feed my mind mentally, as well as did I do some things, physically. And I just do that to kind of keep myself in check, because otherwise I can get out of balance and just, like Sharon was talking, go full blast and just work, because I do love what I do. But I do feel like having it all intertwined on the calendar helps when you are scheduling, but also to remember to, fit different things in different
Exactly.
spots. Like for an example, for 14 years, I used to work out at this one gym. I kept everything in my trunk. So when I was going to meetings or whatever, I just had an opening, like an hour or whatever. I would quick look at their schedule, what was going on at the gym. And I would just stop for an hour and, work out or do a class, a yoga class or whatever, because of the fact that I had that extra time. So I think you
Right.
have to also have spaces, is what I was getting at for
Right.
that, in your calendar, that you can breathe, that you can, because if you're like me at meetings, I usually agree to do different things, and then it's great that you agreed to do it, but if you don't do it, you get a bad reputation. So
Right.
also allocating time as well to implement whatever you talked about to do, as well as stopping to go to the gym or, take a walk or whatever it is that's important to you. So I really feel like that life is totally intertwined. And it's also, that's what's so important about doing what you love and loving what you do. Because when you do that, many times you can find things that actually feed your soul, as well as
Yes.
feed your business, as well as, in meeting new people, whatever it is. But I feel like when you do have that mindset that it's all intertwined,
Mhm.
it's so much easier than trying to
Mhm.
compartmentalize everything and, be so, if you will, strict about it.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, when I had mentioned about keeping it separate, what I was indicating was that what I do at kind of the beginning of the year, and then I go back and revisit it too, is I set personal goals for myself. I set business goals for myself, and I set like entertainment, like vacations or whatever. And then I have to do the calendar to kind of work them out, because I have to work to pay for that vacation. And I
Exactly.
have to be, try to keep myself in shape so I can continue on,
Right.
doing and being healthy, as I go through. So yeah, so everyday life is intertwined,
Right.
but the goals that I want to try to achieve that year, or maybe, a few years down the road, or because I set short-term goals, long-term, medium goals, and then long-term goals. So I do, I am a goal planner. So I totally do all of that and mix it in. But I'm with you about, that we have to have a roadmap, and
Yeah.
sometimes our path kind of twists and turn and moves around a little bit.
Right.
So I totally agree with that. So when we come back, we got to take a quick break. But when we come back, let's talk a little bit about when our paths twist and turn and we have to move a little bit. And I also want to, if we can, talk about inspiring others, right? The inspiration that we obtain ourselves, and how we give that to others. Because I know, Sharon, you work with a lot of ladies. You have a group that you continue on. You produce the magazine, which is very uplifting. How do we keep that pace going, and how do we share that with other people so they can continue to unite with us, and we can keep building this very positive way of life? So let's talk about those things when we come back. All right, ladies?
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, wonderful. You guys are listening to the Link to Expert Business Showcase, and I am Cece Shatz. I have my good friend here with me, Joanne Weiland. We are going to be talking again with setting possible goals with our expert, Sharon Ringier. And Sharon Ringier is a small business alignment strategist. She's got some great groups. We want to talk about that in our magazine. But before we bug off to the quick commercial, I just want to make sure you guys know how to get a hold of her. You can reach her at Sharon, it's SHARON, at impossible, WEC.com. That's IMPOSSIBLEWEC.com. And that's her email. And of course, check out her website, which is impossiblewec.com. You want to do that. She's got a magazine. You can get that and look at her website. You can get it, but you just do the /TPWM dash magazine. And it's something you don't want to miss. We got a quick comment here. We want to make sure we have this here. How do you manage mindset when it comes to goals for business growth? Okay, we're going to answer that when we come back. So stick around here and we'll be answering that for you. So, again, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back, everyone.
Hi, I'm John Thomas. I want to share with you a professional products and services directory we call Going Solo Directory. And you need to check this out. If you want exposure to your business or are seeking professional product or services, this directory has it all. And that membership, for the many special features, you get the benefit of a worldwide exposure with a 40-minute video interview on an international business show showcase. All this for just one low annual fee. For more information, contact goingsolodirectory.com.
Hello, you guys are back. We are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is Link to Expert Business Showcase. I am Cece Shatz, and I have my wonderful friend here with me, Joanne Weiland. We are talking with the wonderful Sharon Ringier. We're talking about setting possible goals. Sharon Ringier is a small business alignment strategist. If you missed the first part of the show, shame on you, because we had talked a lot of stuff that you've got to listen to. So you need to go back and listen to the rebroadcast because it is something you don't want to miss. We talked about setting goals. We talked about how to intertwine those goals with not only our business goals, our personal goals, and other things like that. How it's so important, right? And set boundaries for yourself when you're doing that. So this part of the show, we got a lot of information, but we want to tackle our wonderful comment that we had here. So let's do that real quick. Okay, Sharon, I'm sorry, that's kind of up over your face. I do apologize.
That's okay.
How do you manage mindset when it comes to goals for business growth? Sometimes we set goals and start questioning if we can even accomplish them. Whoa, that's a good question. You want to try to tackle that one, Sharon?
Leave it to Geraldine and give me a good one. She's good. She's good. So one of the things that one, allowing yourself to have that moment when you have it. John Maxwell said it best years ago. Whether it's positive or negative, relish in it for 24 hours. Go ahead and get it out your system, journal it, whatever the case may be, but don't hold on to that. And sometimes life happens that it's still kind of lingering, but you have to find what gives you peace. For me, it's reading devotionals, reading something positive, listening to motivational talks. For Geraldine, I know, to shut her brain down sometimes when she's going through something, she likes to watch old movies, and as so do I. But she will, she'll go mow her lawn just to, have that time with nature. And that one is huge. Like, find what gives you that inner peace and start with that. And meditation, things like that, but implement those things, kind of like Joe was saying, and even Cece was saying, breaking up things and having, these are the things you want to do personally. put that on your personal list of what things can I use to help me with my growth for mindset, because let's be honest, as they say, sheesh gets real. Life gets real. Life is lifing. Life is lifing for all of us. So what do you put in place to help you when life happens? Because if we think it's going to will always be sunshine and roses, yeah, you're going to step in dog poop real fast. Mm-hmm. Just saying. So, and that's part of what you were talking about with the, your personal and all that. It's what I even say, start with joy first, even with prioritizing. Mm-hmm. Make sure you have, because joy first, that will help you through the mindset issues. And I can speak to this because I tend to forget because I get so busy. But when I prioritize my joy and allow myself to step back, I come back refreshed and just like I was gone, and I was stressed out that I was going to be gone for 10 days going up to Jackson Hole, Wyoming a couple weeks ago. But I came back recharged. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's like, you have to step back and allow yourself to process what's going on in your life, and sometimes just breathe. And I saw a great video the other day that talked about understanding, because we get angry as opposed to dealing with our emotions. Crying, there's stress hormones in crying. Have you ever thought about you feel better after you cry because you've released it? So it's like, allow yourself to do the things that your body is meant to do. And that in itself will help the mindset because you're releasing it. Find a good friend that you can vent with that's not going to be like your yes man. You don't want someone, oh, baby, you know what, you need to do XYZ because you know what, whatever the case may be, if you're having man troubles, oh, yeah, you need to leave him. No, that's not how this works. You don't leave him, but you talk through, you get the stuff out your system. You just have a friend that's willing to listen. Those are the things that's really good for mindset. And those are practical things. It's, I'm not saying, go out there and read, a million books or take a course or anything like that. I'm talking about things that you can do even if you're not an entrepreneur. But meditation has been a wonder for me. And, just finding ways to just learn how to come back to me and not feel like, and knowing from a Christian standpoint, I know God's word says, he doesn't give me a spirit of fear. He doesn't give me a spirit of guilt. And what's mine is already here. I just have to get it.
Wonderfully said. Wonderfully said.
Thank you, Geraldine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. How about you, Joanne? Do you want any input?
I was thinking about what you guys were talking about at the break. And I was thinking what I had to learn is to put in your gold jar, just say, the big stuff first. Like you said, that would be the joy. Maybe this would be the spirituality. Maybe this bigger one would be what I want to do mentally, what I want to do physically, just say, get stronger, healthier, before you put in the little rocks that pertain to the big rocks. But do you see what I mean? Because if you put in the little ones first, you're not going to get the big ones in.
Right.
And, and then even when you could put sand in afterwards, I don't have any sand with me, but the point is that I think you have to set the big goals first. And just like you said, with the end in mind, I totally believe in that, Sharon, that, when you know where you want to be, at the end of the road, and then you have to work backwards. It seems really crazy to a lot of people that haven't done it. Cause I remember when I first learned that it is, mind boggling, but it works every time. And then you will get more of the little ideas, and even more granular, because unfortunately, you have to do the details too, because it doesn't you have the big picture that you want to have a magazine, but you never call anybody to see if they want to be in your magazine, just as an example.
Right.
So I just thought I'd share that.
And the other piece of it too is keeping the stuff, the whispers out of your head. It's like you are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So mindset is everything. If you allow people to whisper in your ear negativity, that's what your mindset is going to be. And you're not going to be able to have a threshold to handle, lifing if you continuously are allowing negativity to be fed into you. So it's like, it's very important to feed your mind with positivity, whether it's spirituality, whether it's just good inspiration, whatever the case may be, but not allow, negativity to be put in, because that is energy. At the end of the day, it is energy.
Yes. Yeah. I think people forget that thoughts become things.
Oh, yeah.
And it
And life
really
and death lie in the power of the tongue. It's like if somebody's speaking negativity, that's
right.
death right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
You're
be
so right.
careful who you listen to and what
Yes.
you accept as yours, because
Mhm.
myself, I have so many wild ideas, and I get, people think I'm a dreamer and I'm crazy and I'm,
Oh God, yes.
No,
Yes.
no.
time. But you know what? That's okay. But just, I don't want to, dwell on that and believe in it and give up on my dreams.
Because here's the thing:
You
is there?
know what? Just to interrupt, I think you're a visionary.
Well,
Yes.
You need
thank you.
visionary.
And I believe that now, but when I first started
Right.
being a visionary or allowing my visionary part to come out, I gotta admit, when you get that negativity, you got to be careful not to allow because it's really their fears. Sharon mentioned that
I was
earlier.
about to say
Fears.
that. I was
It's
about
really
to
their
say
fears
that.
because they want to do things like this, but they're scared to death, so they want to hold you back. And the
Right.
other thing is, let's face it, they want you to stay where you're at because they're comfortable there. And I don't know about you guys, but to me, I actually ask myself every day, what can I do differently or what can I do new? Because I want to stay clear and fresh and excited about life and try new things. So, like even this show, just as an example, when Cece called me and asked me if I want to be a co-host, it's like, wow, something, new and exciting. So
Exactly.
anyway, I know we're running out of time,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to share with you that, the listeners, please, let yourself go wild and think. And I loved what Sharon said about, going away for a while. A lot of times we need to let our mind kind of like slow down before we can get new, fresh, exciting ideas. Myself, I think Sharon mentioned it too. When I'm in nature, I get so many what I call downloads, so many ideas. My poor programmers, sometimes I come back with 37 pages of notes of all of these new ideas. And I know I drive them crazy, but really allow yourself to let go sometime to be able to let new things in.
Great
Right.
advice. That is good advice. I was thinking as you were talking, is that both of you ladies are tremendous visionaries. And not only are you that, not only do you step out of the box and try to do something different, but you bring people with you when you do that.
Oh yeah.
You gather them, you unite them, you
Right.
you inspire them to be maybe even more than they realize they can be. And I think that that's wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about that, Sharon, because you have a wonderful group of ladies that you inspire probably each and every day, to really become the woman in business that they want to be, and probably even better themselves as they continue on in their walk of life. And then you also have this wonderful magazine that you're sharing with the world to embrace all of that. So tell us a little bit about your journey of why you decided to form this group of ladies and why you decided to do this publication to share with the world.
So the conference came as a dare. Because I've always wanted to do it because my past life, I was an event planner. So I did weddings, corporate, social. I mentioned that earlier. And a friend of mine was like, well, why don't you do it? And if you want to do it. And I hate dares because now it's like I have to do it. So I embarked on, okay, how am I going to do this conference? I decided to promote it by doing masterminds because I wanted to be different. And there aren't very many groups out there for women that do this. And I always say that men tend to do business in the boardroom or on the golf course. As female entrepreneurs, we don't have that opportunity. And I wanted to create a platform to be able to have women be able to openly share without any threats or anything like that. So I have them sign NDAs, the whole 9 yards. So it's intellectual property is protected because we learn how to do business as men. But the unfortunate thing is because our DNA is not men, we're accused of being either aggressive or assertive, among other words. I'm saying the nice ones, as female entrepreneurs because men do business that way, but it doesn't come off like that for them.
Right.
And because we're trying to compete in a man's world, we tend to be a little bit more, in your face because we feel we have to be. So I really wanted to create this platform for women to be able to do that. And so with us masterminding, it turned into when the conference came, the ladies were like, well, wait, the conference is over. When's the next mastermind? And I'm like, okay, give me 2 months to just figure this thing out because I hadn't thought of it as a business model. And when I tell you, I launched that and 14 women showed. I mean, a bunch had bought all these tickets and stuff, but 14 women showed, 12 signed up that day. And my girlfriend called me. She's like, that's a hell of an ROI. And you definitely have something because if 14 showed and 12 signed up, like paid, signed up, she's like, that's huge. So over time, I've evolved it because it's like I'm looking at the type of, because MLMs are great, but it's I want females that are in MLMs to understand they're the business, not Mary Kay, not Melaleuca, not Monet, not Modir, whatever it is. Market yourself as like the general practitioner, a doctor. And if you come in with cholesterol with the doctor, he's going to give you Lipitor. If you come in with high blood pressure, he's going to give you Diovan. But you still go to the general practitioner. So that way, when you change products, because it happens, people know you, not the product. Right. And it was hard to get that message across. So we've kind of gotten out of having a lot of MLMs in them and we're more intimate. And then we took a break because I was really looking at, I want to help with exposure, visibility, getting clarity. So I started doing more VIP intensives because, again, mindset is everything with this. And it's like, women that's in business 2 to 5 years. It's like you want to remodel your bathroom. You're laying down the tiles. You put down the grout. You put your tiles, the little pluses in between, and then you leave it. Well, what's going to happen is eventually the stuff's going to get in between and pick it apart, and your business is eventually going to fall apart like the floor. I'm the grout. Let's talk about what you're missing in your business. Let's talk about all the things that you could be doing. And the first thing that we're going to talk about before we even do that is your mindset. Because I can lead you to the water, but if I can't make you drink, now we have a problem. What's holding you back? So it's like, those are all the things that I look at from a business standpoint of how can I help them get past the hurdles that are stopping them from taking it to the next level. So that way then they can, because me helping you to scale, that's not my zone of genius. But I know people that can. I know amazing people that can. Right. But to get you to the point of scaling, that's where I really want to help women, because that's the hardest part, is getting you ready to take your business to the next level. And then then when I did the magazine, there's a joke that says, tell God your plans and watch him laugh. It was meant for just the retreat. And then I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to put women in there so that I can use it to like get some social media posting to talk about the retreat. And I'll feature 22 women. And these are all women that are near and dear to me. I know every woman in the magazine. And all of a sudden I'm getting calls. And it's like, how can I buy this? And I'm sitting there like, give me a minute. Because I never like to say no. So I'm like, give me a minute. And I sold like 30 copies in like less than 3 weeks. We had almost 2,000 impressions the first month. And it was just like, and then I got a phone call from a friend of mine who has her own streaming network. And she's like, is this a one and done? And I'm like, well, I'm thinking about maybe doing it again. And she's like, let me tell you something. I know people doing magazines, and there's pale in comparison to what you have, because what I have is I'm allowing other women to have a voice.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, this is the stepping stone that you can use to get you in the Forbes, or to get you in Business Week, or whatever the case may be, or just an opportunity to say you've been published. So I decided that I'm like, you know what? I want to help women get a voice, or have a voice to share what they know. I want it to be, definitely cannot be fluffy stuff, because it's like me and fluff don't go well. Give, substantive like information that you can help another female entrepreneur. There's science behind that, because it's like, now I'm getting you to help someone else. So it's all about how do we each one teach one, and it's like, because I'm huge about that. Like Geraldine, we talk almost every day, and we're bouncing ideas off of, because like Joanne, like you said, it's like a million ideas pop off. And sometimes it's, we're squashing each other to where, okay, no, stay focused.
Right.
Write that down and let the squirrel go, let the shiny object go, and let's focus on what's making you money. And we're on each other's case every day. So, and that's why I love her, because it's like, she has her own group, Smart Women Partner and Grow Rich. I'm part of her group. I'm part of her co-marketing program. We help each other and we show other women how to do that because there is no competition.
Yeah, very good. Well, we're going to have to close down the show, and I hate to do that because there's
I'm sorry.
a lot of fun, and we're learning a lot of stuff. I mean, it's really terrific. So again, let's share with the audience how they can get a hold of you and how can they get the magazine, because we would all love to know that. That's the new one out, right?
No, that's actually the summer. Fall comes out September 1st.
Okay, September 1st. So we've got a new one coming out.
Right.
So everyone, you want to go to our website, which is, of course, is www.impossiblewec.com. That's impossible, IMPOSSIBLEWEC.com. And if you want to get a hold of her, you can email her at Sharon@impossiblewec.com. So make sure that you do that. Get her magazine. Be inspired. I think we're going to twist your arm and try to get you to come on the network here. We may not let her off. We'll just keep her on live. She's out here forever. But a lot of fun, huh, Joanne?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Cece.
Thank you,
Sharon, for sharing your insights. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Joanne, for helping me get here.
Oh, it is so great. You guys are listening to Link to Expert Business Showcase with myself, Cece Shatz, and Joanne Weiland, my good friend. You are on a WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and we hope that you guys enjoyed the show. Wonderful, wonderful show here with Sharon Ringier. We talked about setting possible goals. I know we'll have her back on. Maybe we can have some of her ladies and get inspired by them. We would love to be able to do that. Remember, you are on the Going Bold network. You can find all of our information on goingboldmedia.com, and we hope that you'll find us there. So we're going to have to close out the show. Thanks, Joanne.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon. We really appreciate you. All right. Everyone, have a great day. Bye for now.